welcome to Horror Review Sunday. Let's talk about The Town That Dreaded Sundown remake. Last week I talked about the original. Now we're talking about the remake from 2014 and what I consider to be now one of the best remakes out there. Top 5 for me now. It was not on my top 10 list when I made it before. That's because I didn't rewatch this movie. It is phenomenal. I love it. So let's talk about my positives. The biggest thing is the freaking cinematography, the way this movie looks, the lighting, and very Argento in moments, and some of the shot selections, like very like De Palma-esque, like lots of like split diopter lens shots, where things are two different things are in focus, one's kind of further back, and the foreground and background are both in focus. Like lots of those shots in the movie. Like I wouldn't be shocked if I read an interview by this director and he was like, yeah, I was influenced by De Palma and Argento, like lots of beautiful lighting, lots of colors being used, lots of lens flares. It's very stylish, very slick, very polished, very beautiful looking slasher movie. And I love the meta remake angle. They didn't just remake the original. They could have done that. They could have done what you would expect, but instead they said, let's make a remake where the movie we're remaking is a movie that within this movie, like the people in this movie, they're watching the original 76 version, and the events that movie is about are still real. So I love that approach. And I love that this one is more of a slasher movie than the other one. This is more my style. The other one was a documentary kind of slasher movie. Wasn't really a lot of, slashings. There was a lot more like gun kills. You still get some gun kills in this one, but this one ups the violence. The kills are fucking vicious, mean-spirited. There's some cringy, gore in here, things that make you go, oh, like bones snapping, severed heads. This one is brutal. It's fucking amazing. Like fist pump moments. I didn't remember how intense this movie was. Like the scenes with the Phantom in this movie are some of the best scenes in slashers in the last 10 years. I love the Phantom in this movie. They recreated that look identically to the other movie. Like he looks like the same killer in the 76th version in this one. Like he's got like the same outfit on, the same bag head look. Still love the look. Love the way the eyes are cut out, and just awesome stuff. I love all the little callbacks and Easter eggs, like little things that you would only know and get if you just saw the other version and you are familiar with it enough. Like they call one guy a spark plug just in one quick moment, and that was the main doofus cop's name in the original movie. His name was Sparkplug, and I like the little callbacks to the first one, and they're not like shoehorned in, they're not forced just to be like, oh hey, it's a cute little nod to the first movie. Like no, it's actually part of the story. In this movie, the killer is recreating the murders of the movie within this movie. So once again, we get that awesome trombone kill, but it's done more modernized, more graphic, more on screen, very bloody. A little bit of CGI blood in a couple of moments. I noticed, I think, it just looked a little CG to me, but not crazy, not too bad. I love that this one decided to strip all the comedy that was in the original out. It's not comedic at all. It's dark and intense. So I love that there's no cringy humor in the movie to get in the way of the tension. And the mystery overall, I found very intriguing. I was 100% on board and very interested. It's a very quick movie. It's only like 85 minutes or less if you take away like the end credits and everything. It's a very quick movie. It's not that long. It's less than your average runtime. The only one thing I didn't really care for in this movie was the end reveal, the motivation, and how it all went down at the end. Wasn't crazy about it. It just felt too screamy, too been here, done that. The motivation was weak. The reveal was weak, and I didn't like it. But final thoughts, I think this is a damn near flawless remake slasher movie. Very intense and brutal with great kills. A menacing slasher. I love the cool concept they went for, the mystery, the intrigue, the tension, some of the kills, some of the gore. It's an awesome slasher movie. If you haven't seen it, you need to check it out. It is head and shoulders above the original, if you ask me. So slick and beautiful too. So check it out. When it comes to the Town That Dreaded Sundown remake, highly recommend that you go out and buy it. Alright, spoiler discussion so I can blow this movie more. I loved it. So, another thing I love, let's talk about it. The opening shot of the drive-in, how it just goes down. We go from like character to character. It goes through the drive-in, and we actually follow the characters out of the drive-in. All that stuff. Cool. Very terrific opening shot. Lots of moving parts, lots of choreography to that shot. just terrific stuff. Like, that opening shot let me know right away, like, oh, I'm in for something special here. So in this first encounter with this Phantom, he tells this guy to take off his pants, and that's actually what happened in 1946, supposedly. He had them at gunpoint, he told them to take their pants off and shit, and you didn't actually see that. That never happened in the original in 1976, and they actually do that here in this movie. So I thought that was cool to actually stay true to the real events of 1946. And then he says, this is for Mary, and that was the name of the first victim in 1946. Not the name of the character in the movie who was the first victim, but in real life, there was a girl named Mary, and she was wounded. I don't think she was killed, but she was wounded. And then we get one of the best scenes, if not the best scene, the best carnage in this movie, and that is the motel scene, after we see some very intense sex. And after that, we see this guy, he goes out to get a drink, and then when we see him next, his head has been decapitated, and the killer uses this guy's severed head like a brick to smash the window open. He like hits it up against the glass like 4 times, and it shatters. Fucking awesome. I've never seen anything like that in any other slasher. That was just freaking amazing. Fist pumping moment. Like, fuck yeah. That is tremendous. And then the girl, she like jumps out the window. She breaks her leg. Her like bone snaps through her skin, breaking the skin. Awesome stuff. That stuff always that always gets a reaction from the audience. Like, oh, because that's actually something that's relatable to some people. Like, people have experienced stuff like that, breaking limbs, breaking bones and stuff. I've never broken a bone in my life, but still, I see that stuff, I have to look away. That shit's very gruesome. And then we meet Josh Leonard from, Blair Witch and Hatchet and that fucking piece of shit Prom Night remake I saw him in recently. He's in a lot of horror movies. Like, he actually had a pretty prolific career after Blair Witch. I don't think the other two did. But, Josh, he's got a lot of credits under his name, and even did Shark Week, or Shark Night 3D, yeah, that movie. So he hasn't done a lot of amazing movies, but this is probably his best movie, if you ask me. And this is very realistic, and it doesn't make sense, but they banned the movie, like that's gonna help somehow. Like, oh, we got a couple of murders, so let's ban the movie. We can't show it no more. Like, people in today's day and age, like this movie takes place in, 2013? They're not going to find access to the movie somehow, like Netflix. When did Netflix start, right? Like, I'm sure the movie's there. They can watch it on their phone. So banning the movie in your town's not going to do shit. Are they making it illegal? Like, doesn't matter. Like, banning the movie is not going to do anything. It's just stupid. But it's very true to life. That's realistic. That's how some people think still to this day. Like, if we ban something, it'll just go away. Another little reference to the original movie is, the car thief in that one scene in the original. They actually talk about his character and how the character that he was based on in real life died the year before the events of this movie. So I like that. Like, they actually reference other people, and they bring stuff up like Sparkplug at the police station. You got the character Lone Wolf. He's like, all right, Sparkplug, do whatever. Something, I forget what the line was, but I heard him call him Sparkplug. So I was like, oh, look, Sparkplug. I don't like that character in the first movie, but I was like, oh, a little callback. I like the scene where Lone Wolf, he's watching the movie, and like he's saying the same lines that he said. Like, his character is basically that character. So it's like he's looking in the mirror almost. Like, that guy's me. Lone Wolf is watching Gonzalez or Morales, the guy from the other movie, and he's saying like the same lines as him when he first was introduced in this movie. Like, and he said, like, I've never seen the movie, but he was saying the same lines like he did. So either he's lying or it's a coincidence. And then kind of like in the original movie where you had like the people coming to the police station claiming to be the Phantom. In this movie, you got a guy dressed up like the Phantom, but it's more like a suicide attempt. He shows up to the memorial and the Marines shoot him down, for revenge, but he's not the real Phantom. But I love how when the Marine shoots him, he immediately like puts his gun down. He's like, all right, arrest me. All right, I got the fucker. And then we get the trombone scene that comes after this very awkward exchange between these two guys who I guess are gay for the, this is their first gay experience together. They're like looking at each other. They're just like, oh, what should we do? How do we do this? He was like, oh, I was thinking maybe you come over here and suck on it a little bit, and I'll suck you after. Like I was laughing. Like I just thought the way they were talking, just the dialogue was making me laugh out loud. I was like, this is so fucking awkward. Like they are just such dorks. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. It's like I don't know. But yeah, so the killers knew they would be there. I don't know. Like I'm not gonna dig too deep and like pick plot holes and whatnot, but I guess they followed them. They knew that these people had trombones on them that they could use because that's the point. They need to recreate the deaths in the first movie, so they followed them there, right? I don't think they were just conveniently just hanging out there and then they barged in on them. I don't know. So, but yeah, we get the trombone death once again. Very awesome. Cool callback to the first movie. I did find it kind of odd that the main girl in this movie, who looks a lot like the final girl in You're Next, it's not her, but I thought it was, she turns down this guy. He like tries to kiss her and she's like, get out of my car. And then a few minutes later in the movie, they're having sex because she's going to go to college and move away. So she's like, oh, never mind. You can fuck me now. I wouldn't let you kiss me before, but now you can have sex with me. It's only like a day or two later. And then we get the recreation of the farmhouse kills. And in this movie, instead of getting shot twice in the back of the head, Gary Cole, what's the actor's name? Isn't he like Bill Lumbergh in Office? Yeah, I'm gonna need you to work Saturday and Sunday. If you could come in Monday, that would be great. That guy, I think that's him. He gets shot right in the face, and it's all one shot. So I'm getting, it's CGI, but it looks like it's also kind of practical. Maybe it's like practical CGI blended together, kind of like how they did that in Final Destination 2 with the ladder going through the eye. Like they kind of like mishmash, practical. They shoot it twice, once with like a dummy head and once with the real guy's head, and they kind of like blend it together. I don't know how it all works behind the scenes, but I'm guessing, right? That's how they did it. But it looks pretty cool. A little CG, but awesome. Like the gunshot hitting him right in the eye right after he came, like he's getting a blowjob, and as soon as he comes, you can tell he's coming. He's like, oh yeah, and then as soon as he opens his eye, bam. And then the other girl, she runs out in the cornfield, and then she sees a scarecrow, and then like screams about it. Like she stares at it for like a full second, and then starts screaming, giving away her position. I just thought that was a little silly. Like, come on, really? I did like that they had a character in the movie who's playing the director of the first movie's son, and he's talking about how his dad suspected this other guy to be the killer, McCready or something, or there was this other victim that was never reported. So it's creating this extra mystery, like who was this McCready guy? Who's his grandson? So adding to the mystery, and I like that scene. And having the director's son in here, maybe I think they should have had his character in it maybe a little bit more, or have him be a victim, because they kind of make him a little bit of a red herring. I think he should have been the guy on the railroad tracks later on, all chopped to pieces. That should have been him, I think. But they used the boyfriend instead, and he gets killed very Halloween 2018 like, with the motion sensors. The motion light, the lights keep flickering on and off as he's like passing each house. Very cool scene. So yeah, this predates Halloween 2018. The lighting in this one scene made me laugh because it looked like they were about to get like abducted by aliens. It looked like they were in the spotlight of a UFO. When they're in the backyard talking, the main couple in this movie towards the end, before he goes off and dies, they're in the backyard and it looks like there's like a UFO spotlight on them. And I was like expecting them at any moment to start like levitating, going out like, what's going on? And get probed. I was like, there's a UFO in this movie now. Anybody else think that? And then, you got the gas station shooting, and, the grandma gets shot right in the fucking throat, bleeds out, and then the other idiot runs outside the gas station. Like, you hear gunshots, and you're going to run out in the open and get shot too? What are you thinking, moron? And then, we get the final chase through the woods, and then she gets shot twice with a bow and arrow, conveniently in spots that's not going to kill her right away so that she can hear the big exposition speech about why I did it. We get the reveal that her boyfriend faked his death in the opening, which was kind of cool at first until he opened his mouth and was like, this is why I did it. And you're just like, what the fuck? Like, that's so stupid. Like, his motive is weak. And then the other guy, he's the grandson. So I like that. It should have just been one killer, honestly. I think they were just trying to throw in the extra surprise, like, oh, there's two killers. We're like, Scream. And and his motivation, it was just, I don't like it. He was like, oh, this town expects me to be like my dad, so fuck you. I'm not going to be anything like my dad. I'm not going to be stuck here. I'm going to be remembered for this. I want to be remembered as the Phantom. And it's just typical dumb shit. I didn't like it at all. The other guy made more sense. Like, he had a reason. He also didn't want to get caught. He was going to use him, so I guess that's why there had to be two killers, because he was going to blame him for everything. So I guess that's why there's two killers. But still, like, it made sense for him, because his great-granddaddy, who was McCready, who was the forgotten about victim, the final victim of the original Phantom in 1946, and he wanted to somehow, through this chain of events, get people to uncover that and realize that there was another victim, and to remember his granddaddy, I think, or his great-granddaddy, something like that. I did find it kind of convenient that she bumped into her dead boyfriend's body there. Like, the shooting happens, and she just runs off in this one direction, and then hits the railroad tracks, and then that's where her boyfriend's at. Like, as soon as she sees the railroad tracks, it's at the one spot where they decided to plant his body. Like, how did they know that they were going to stop at that gas station at all? How did they know that she was going to run in that direction? How did they know she was going to hit that specific spot at the railroad tracks to find the dead body? Like, it just seems convenient to me, unless you can explain it to me. But anyways, yeah, we get typical betrayal. The one killer kills the other killer. You see that a lot when there's two killers in movies like this. And then, she gets the gun from the guy and shoots Josh Leonard in the face. Josh Leonard was the other killer. And, she has, like, that final line that they always have before they pull the trigger. Like, eat this. I don't know what she said. I forget what she said, but she had, like, that final line that, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker kind of moment. Except it wasn't, like, cheesy or anything. And then we get this end shot where she's at a college in a different state, and it's suggesting that there's, like, a copycat Phantom stalking her now there. I didn't need that. It's just kind of by the numbers slasher ending to kind of like hint at a sequel, like, oh, it's gonna keep happening to the same girl. This poor girl can't catch a break. I didn't care for the end shot. That wasn't really needed. Just saying, that's just how I felt about it. So, but yeah, terrific movie, damn near flawless. Just a little couple of gripes. Just the end reveal, that stuff, nah. End shot, kind of typical. Didn't care for it. But what a great movie. Just terrific slasher. Check it out. If you haven't seen it and you're still listening to this spoiler section, what the fuck are you doing? The Hockey Mask Award for Best Character in this movie will be the main character, Jamie, the smart, sexy lady. She's the sexiest girl in this movie also. And the Hanky Award for Worst Character in this movie will be the priest, who is trying to spread fear to gain followers in his church. And then the Clapper Award for Best Scene in this movie will be the Motel Massacre scene. That scene is phenomenal. And the best shot in this movie, I don't do this award very often, but there is a lot of shots in this movie that are terrific, and the shot I love is the Phantom when he disappears into the darkness in the opening when we first see him in the distance. Very like Halloween 1978-esque with Myers in the background. Just another one of a million great shots in this film. So I love that shot. And the Mr. Hat Award for Best Kill in this movie, once again, like last week when I talked about the other movie, will be the trombone kill. And the Mr. Twig Award for lamest kill in this movie will, I guess, be the bartender girl who gets stabbed to death in the cornfield and then hung up on a cross the next morning. And those are my thoughts on the Town That Dreaded Sundown remake. I love this movie. How much do you love it? Do you hate it? Let me know why in the comments below. Put all your thoughts of it down there. And as always, if you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button and become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.